All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Monday, March 31st in the NBA, last day of March. Hopefully we can end this month on a winning day. That's all you can ask for here. And like always, we are going to go over the injury news for today. I think it's a 7 or 8 game slate, so kind of a sweet spot. Not too few games, not too many games where you get overwhelmed. So we're going to break down the slate, find some plays that we're liking, and like always, we are going to start with that injury report to see who's playing or what we know as of right now to kind of just get the best reads on the day. So if that sounds cool, definitely go and leave the video a like, comment something down below, and subscribe, of course, if you are new. And then real quick, before the injury news, we got to go over the recap of the last video. We had Jalen Duren under 13.5 points. I spent a lot of time breaking that pick down, and he ended up going over. He had 16 points, a lot of that in the first half, so they did slow him down at the end of things. The Pistons go on to win this game without Cade Cunningham. This is a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, so that's a surprising fact on it. Dennis Schroeder, we talked about him potentially not being able to be as impactful as Cade. He ends up getting 10 assists. So you got to tip your cap to those guys sometimes. And again, it's not like he went out there and dropped 30. He had 16 points. So, kind of just crept over there. Kawhi Leonard over 22.5 points. This is a great read. He had 25 points at halftime. So really good read there. Kawhi just ended up, continues to be a wagon. I don't know why his points line keeps coming up at like 22.5 points because he continues to go over that, and he's looking really, really good when you actually watch him play basketball. Scotty Barnes under 23.5 points and assists, ends on the hook with 24, unfortunately. I like the read. He only played 27 minutes. He only had 18 points. He did chip in with 6 assists, so he did go under his 18.5 points line. But again, it was close enough to the fact that I did like the read. He only played 27 minutes. That was the main part of the read. And, with these Raptors players not playing that much time, it's going to be hard for him to hit their overs like we saw right here. We like the under more. More often than not, he's going to go under this in this much time on the court. He ended up just creeping over there. Anthony Edwards over 28.5 points. I don't know what he ended with. Not much, because he got injured in the second quarter. That's going to obviously change the trajectory of the game. Pretty much missed the whole second quarter of that game. So didn't play much in the first half. He's going to be struggling. And Julius Randle on the other side of things was playing really well. So he kind of carried the load there. Anthony Edwards didn't have to do much in that one. And that was that, the storyline pick that we were going to, because he's playing against KD and those different things. Obviously the injury not going to help and over. And then we had Jokic to close us out there. Another good read. He ended with like 42 or something. This was against the Jazz. They won by a whole bunch of points. He only played 32 minutes. Didn't really matter because he was able to crush that line. So again, kind of another wash of a day. We need a big day coming up just because it's been like 50-50 the last 2 or 3 videos. We were cooking before that, so we're not going to give ourselves a lack of credit. But we're due for a good day, so hopefully that comes today. So let's hop into the injury report. So hopping right into the injury report here, we got Sacramento and Indiana. Benedict Mathurin for Indiana is going to be the main miss here. On-off court stats for these guys when Benedict Mathurin's not on the court. You can see Siakam gets a little bit boost in usage here. TJ McConnell, obviously, Miles Turner, Obi Toppin, Nesmith, those are main guys I probably want to look at just because without Mathurin in the lineup, that's going to be a little bit more usage, a little bit more time on the court for both those guys. So a guy like Obi Toppin getting 25 minutes definitely intrigues me because he's a guy that can put up stats pretty quickly here. And Sacramento's defense we know is not amazing. This is a game at home. Could be a good look there. Then we got Jake LaRavia and Carter out for the Sacramento Kings. Nothing too crazy there. We can see the projected minutes for a lot of these guys. Malik Monk off the bench. Keon Ellis projected to start 26 minutes, but the big minutes are going to come from guys like Zach LaVine, DeMar, Sabonis, and Keegan Murray, guys that have been getting a whole lot of time pretty much all year. Moving along to the Clippers and Orlando here. This is going to be 210-point total, probably a defensive battle. It is in Orlando, and the Clippers are on a back-to-back set, so this is the second half of a back-to-back. Kawhi did not play yesterday, so he should be ready to go in today's game, I'd expect. That's why he's a probable tag here. And if you go I forgot to mention the teams on a back-to-back. The Clippers are on a back-to-back. They lost to Cleveland yesterday, so looking like a bounce-back spot for them. Again, they didn't have Kawhi. He should be well-rested and ready to go. The Houston Rockets played yesterday against the Suns. They crushed them by like 40 points. They hung like 150 points on their head. So Phoenix probably on the outside looking in at the play-in even at this point in the season. And the Rockets got the Lakers tonight. That should be a fun one and a big one for the playoff standings and playoff placement. And then the Hornets played the Pelicans. I don't even remember who won that game, but they're also in a back-to-back. So back to the injury news here. We've got the Clippers. Kawhi should be ready to go. Amir Coffey is going to be a game-time decision. These are the 2 main guys that I would want to be looking at. Projected minutes here, Bogdanovich still getting minutes off the bench. Norman Powell's minutes starting to creep back up. It's at 34. He has not been as good since returning from that injury, mainly because his minutes have been down. So nothing too crazy here. For the Orlando side of things, Cole Anthony still on the injury report. He's been dealing with that toe injury that's kept him out for a decent amount of time. But you see the projected minutes for a lot of these guys. Paolo and Franz, obviously the main 2 guys. Caldwell Pope continues to get a whole lot of minutes. Wendell Carter Jr. Still outperforming, or at least in the minutes department, outperforming Goga Batadze at the center spot. And then Corey Joseph projected to start here, but again, you'll probably see Anthony Black. And if for some reason Cole Anthony does come back in this one, you'll see them get the most of the point guard minutes. But looks like Cole Anthony is still a game time decision tag, so I'm not sure if we're going to see him or not. Miami and Washington, this is an 8.5-point spread in favor of Miami. No Jovic still, no Love, no Duncan Robinson, no Andrew Wiggins. So a lot of guys probably getting a boost in projected minutes. Pell Larson, all these random guys that the Miami Heat end up turning into like actual players in this league. They do that every single year, and we're getting it from Pell Larson at the late point in this season. Kyle Anderson projected for 20 minutes. Jaime Jaquez only getting 8 minutes projected here is kind of crazy. He seemed like the guy that they liked, the young prospect that's been in the league for a few years now, but the Heat kind of going away from him. You see the minutes the last few games, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes of DNP. Just kind of weird for Jaime Jaquez, who's looked pretty good. Maybe he's dealing with some sort of injury. But the main guys we're going to be looking at here is going to be a guy like Kel'el Ware, someone that interests me against, big man against the Wizards. Obviously, Bam Adebayo, someone that could destroy these guys down low as well. Tyler Hero projected for a whole bunch of time, but we'll see what happens on that side of things. And then for Washington, it's hard to get to any of these guys just because, again, they're one of those teams that don't really play anyone more than 30 minutes. Everyone's getting a piece of the cake. Alex Sark and the main guy scoring as of late, projected for 27 minutes. A.J. Johnson projected for 30. Jordan Poole's minutes projected continue to go down. This is at 25. Now it's at 22. And again, he sucks. I just don't think he's a very efficient player, and I think they're starting to realize that playing all these other guys, seeing what they got going on. But no Middleton, no George, Gill, Kubali, Brogdon, Sadiq Bey. All those guys are out, so you just saw the projected minutes there. And then going into Utah and Charlotte, this game's kind of a crapshoot. It is a 1.5 spread, minus 1.5 in favor of Charlotte. But again, so many injuries. No Collins, no Kessler, no Markkanen, no LaMelo Ball. A bunch of game time decisions on the Charlotte side of things with Mark Williams, Josh Green. You don't really know who's going to play. Even Colin Sexton's a game time decision here. So you go to projected minutes. You see Filipowski, the main guy that's probably going to get the most amount of minutes. I'd say Filipowski, Collier, and Keontae George are kind of the only guys that might be cemented into those minutes. These other minutes are going to be based on how these guys are going to be playing on the court throughout that game. And they just want to run out guys, see who's playing well. And again, they're focusing on next season. Both these teams are. So Filipowski, I'd say Keontae George, even Collier's kind of hasn't been amazing for me lately. His assist was like a wagon midpoint of the season. That hasn't been really there recently. So Filipowski, someone I want to look at. Keontae George, maybe another guy. And on the Charlotte side of things, you got to see if Josh Green and Mark Williams is going to play. If Mark Williams doesn't play, could be a great spot for a Nurkic assist line, Nurkic rebounds line. His minutes will go up a lot. But Nick Smith Jr. projected for a decent amount. Miles Bridges projected for a decent amount. But again, the Hornets aren't going to run their guys into the ground. LaMelo already got ruled out for the season. A little bit harder to cap both these teams. Moving on to Boston and Memphis, this should be a good game. Jaylen Brown has not been good, really, since he's been dealing with that ankle injury, or knee injury, sorry. Did have this 24-point game against Phoenix, but other than that, he has not been as efficient or anything like that. Hasn't been scoring the ball, hasn't been as aggressive, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if he does sit this game. But if he does play, again, this is a 5-point spread in favor of Boston in Memphis. And Memphis just fired their coach. They got a whole bunch of stuff going on. They didn't look great in their first game back, but we could see a lot more John Morant. The story out there is that they weren't using John Morant enough, which is why the change was made to get the Jenkins out of there as the head coach and move in with this new guy. So the offense could look a little different. Zach Edey, I did see, played 27 minutes, projected for 22 minutes here. I don't know if it's an amazing matchup with Porzingis out there, but maybe they're trying to run these guys a little bit more. They're a young team. They are one of the top in the West, but at the same time, they're playing some tough teams out there in the Western Conference. And again, if they get a first-round exit, it's not going to look too great for them. So maybe it is time to experiment a little bit more. So not many injuries to report for the Memphis team. They're playing a tough team, hard to get to an over on one of those guys. But again, they're messing around with lineups and things like that. So with the new coaching staff, a little bit harder to read. But again, Zach Edey played a little bit more. John Morant had a little bit more pick and roll action going on. So we'll see what they can do against Boston, who they've beat this year. Then we got Chicago and OKC. This is a 15-point spread. OKC continues to crush everyone pretty much. They're still in contention for 70 wins on the season. I don't know if we're going to get Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein. They're both game time decisions here. But Chicago, obviously a weaker defense. They've been playing pretty well. Josh Giddey participated in shoot-around, so he should be ready to go. And he's looked awesome lately, contributing to wins putting up big stat lines, all these different things. Kobe White been awesome. Bazelis has been great. Vucevic has been getting time on the court. You see the projected minutes for all these guys. So, hey, maybe Chicago comes out there and spoils the day for OKC. But again, big point spread. It's hard one to predict because the Chicago Bulls have a weak defense, but they've been playing really well. Could be a higher point total here at 238.5. So it could be one of those games where it's easy to go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander points. It's probably going to be high like it always is, but he's always almost a shoe-in for 30 points. We'll just see if he can get that 34, 35, whatever it might be that he needs to get over. And yeah, that's probably my read on the injury report there. For the Chicago side of things, still no Trey Jones. Still no Herter, no Ayo Dosunmu, no Lonzo Ball, probably. So Giddey, obviously the main guy to look at here. Playing his old team in OKC, just kind of thinking about that too. There's always the storyline for a revenge game for a guy that's playing really, really well. Then we got Brooklyn and Dallas, not my favorite game to try to cap here. Gafford, game time decision. That's awesome to see because he's been out for a long time. AD, also game time decision, but probable and ready to go. I don't think they've lost with AD in the lineup just yet, even playing with his limited minutes. So could be an interesting one here. Dallas, a harder team to kind of predict here, offensively and defensively, just because we haven't seen this new team, especially without Kyrie here. But Dinwiddie assists just could be something I'm looking at. Brooklyn's defense has been solid. No Clowney, Johnson, Sharp, all going to be out for this team. So again, Brooklyn always a hard team to cap here down the stretch. D'Angelo Russell, we talked about it in the last video. A guy that I like to fade just because he doesn't show up for a lot of games, and he continues to do that even though he's projected for 28 minutes. Sometimes he plays much less, and there's always that weird instance where he goes off and plays really well at the same time. So hard one to cap here. 9-point spread in favor of Dallas. I think AD should probably have his way down low against Nick Claxton. And with Gafford down there, it'll be interesting to see how those guys play together if they are both ready to go. Lively, also game time decision. Just keep that in mind. Then Houston and Lakers to kind of close it out. Could be the game of the night. 4-point spread. Houston is on a back-to-back, but they dominated last game. Didn't have to run their guys a whole bunch. I think Dylan Brooks got ejected in that game. So we're seeing them fully healthy. They've been playing really well over the last month of the season. Going into the playoffs, they're one of the younger teams. Lakers will be a team they might see in a first-round matchup or second-round matchup or something like that. LeBron is going to be a game-time decision. This should be a fun one. He should be ready to go. And yeah, battle of a kind of atop the West here. The top four teams. I think the Lakers might be fourth. Houston's second right now. So definitely a battle of playoff positioning, seeding, all those different things. Could be a fun one. Not much injuries to talk about, which is great. All right, with all the injury news out of the way, we're actually going to start talking about some plays here. We're going to be using Props Madness, the tool we always use in our videos. If you want to check this out, if you're watching this thing and you're like, damn, I got to try this thing out. It is awesome. You can do so. Use my link in the description down below. You get a free week trial using code RICH. You also get 25% off your first month or your first year. And yes, they do have WNBA, which I'm excited to try throughout this entire season. It's going to be great to have all these different stats for WNBA players. A little bit less knowledgeable in that department, but going to be a lot easier and a lot more streamlined, knowing how defenses rank up, how people score their points, and things like that. So Prop Madness is awesome. Awesome. So we're going to start off with Keontae George. He's going to be our first play of the game. And if you're wondering how I get to a guy like this, something I always look at is going to be, okay, a bunch of injuries going on. Who's going to get the projected minutes? And I start with the highest projected guy. So I looked at Kyle Filipowski. I think he's in a pretty good spot today. The next guy I'd like to see is a guy like Keontae George, someone I've focused on a little bit more throughout the season. He was a guy on my fantasy team. I know I point that out a lot, but I know what Keontae George can do, especially with a lot of these guys out of the lineup. So we're going to do that right off the bat. We're going to take Laurie and John Collins out of lineup. I'm looking at his 16.5 points line. He's over this in 26% of games. Right off the bat, absolutely loving this. Now, this was earlier on in the season. This was January. I guess not that early in the season, but he already played this team is what I'm trying to get at. Without Markkanen, without John Collins, he put up 26 points in 31 minutes. He projected for 30 minutes today. He shot pretty well, not extremely well, but has a lot of volume on this. 9 of 22 shooting, and you can see the way he scores the ball, pick and roll ball handling, free throws. This Hornets team is always a very, very mediocre matchup, but Mark Williams might not be there. Josh Green, a pretty good two-way player, 3-and-D type of guy, potentially not there. Might not be playing Keontae George much anyway, but it's good to see that they're dealing with some injuries. No LaMelo Ball there, who I don't know if he's going to be a plus or a minus on the defensive end. But Keontae George has done this in a similar situation against this similar team. And if you talk about the injuries on that side of things, it's most likely just going to hurt them at that point. So Keontae George, a lot of injuries piling up. He's already done this. Again, we're not even talking about the fact that Jordan Clarkson's not here. Walker Kessler's going going to be out, so taking those guys out of the equation, we're going to get fewer games, obviously, but he's now over in 5 of 6 of those games. You could look at his rebounds, I think, as well, but again, I'm not loving the rebound potential at points and rebounds at 20.5. Sure, you could look at that. You can look at the rebounds, similar types of players, it's 50-50. I think I'd just rather trust his scoring at 16.5. That's going to be my main look here. That's going to be the first play of the video. Keontae George over 16.5 points. Again, maybe not a matchup play, more of a volume play on the amount of shots he's getting up with all these injuries piling up, and the fact he's done it against this similar team. Quickly moving into this next game, I tried to get a read on it, but I don't have a great read on anyone in this game, to be totally honest. There's no Mathurin for the Pacers, so I wanted to look at guys like Miles Turner, but he's so close to his line a lot of times. Like if you took Miles Turner 14 plus points, I think that's a great way to do it. But he's got a great, scoring matchup here in terms of above the break threes. He didn't go over this last time he played them, and again, he only played 25 minutes in a huge blowout, and he did have 15 points there. With no Benedict Mathurin, he's scoring pretty well, so he is a guy that I was looking at. I don't know if I can get to 15.5, but it could be a solid look here, just because he lands on 14 or 15 a lot throughout the season. Even if you just go to like dominant scoring zone, that above the break three that they're so weak to, look at the bottom 20 teams in terms of defending that, you can see how many times he lands on 14 or 15. So again, 14 plus points for Miles Turner, that looks pretty good. But again, that's going to be taking some juice at the same time. I was looking at Obi Toppin. I was looking at, honestly, Halliburton's under assists. Then it didn't really start making sense to me just because he's been rolling. So then I started looking at Nembhard's over in assists. He's been pretty good in situations without Benedict Mathurin in here. So you could look at something like that. This is also a plus money play. I just don't know if I'm going to get anything on the Pacers side of things. And then on the Kings side of things, I got to look at Sabonis for some rebounds. 13.5 seems pretty high. You can find this at 13.0 on something like PrizePicks. But this is something I was looking at just because they lost by 27 points last time, and he had 21 rebounds in that game. So that's pretty crazy right off the bat. To be totally honest, though, I haven't really loved his form recently. Obviously, dealing with injuries, minutes have kind of been bouncing up and down. But recently, he's been more steady. Projected for 35 minutes in this game. If you see games that he's getting 30 plus minutes, obviously the hit rate on this is going to look a lot better. But if you cap it at 40 minutes or something, 62% hit rate, capped at 38, 43% or 48% hit rate. So just nothing. It's not like popping off the page to me, but it's something you got to look at just because he had so many rebounds the last time against these guys, and that was a game they were putting buckets in the basket. Winning by 27, you got to be doing something right, and he still had 28 rebound chances against that team. So Sabonis rebounds could be something to look at, as well as with his assists, because Malik Monk coming off the bench maybe has a little bit more assist potential. And then while we're sticking on Sabonis, I honestly was looking at his points as well. 17.5 line with Zach LaVine in the lineup has not been great, but something to look at just because he's got a great matchup to score the ball. So maybe adding his points could be a sneaky little go here, just because it's a lower line. He hasn't been doing it very often lately, but maybe that's part of the reason I don't want to look at it. So again, something with Sabonis I think is going to be a solid look here. I can't really get to Keegan Murray, who's been playing well, but he's got a tough matchup to score the ball. Same with Keon Ellis, guys I don't really fully trust, especially these hit or miss games that Keon Ellis likes to have. And again, the matchup isn't amazing. So this Pacers and Kings game is something I want to look at for some more plays. But as of right now, nothing really popping off the page. But just wanted to point out some of those guys that I am looking at. Moving along to the Heat and Wizards game, there was definitely some unders I was trying to get to for the Wizards side of things, because they're one of those teams, kind of like the Raptors, that aren't playing many guys more than 30 minutes. AJ Johnson, the only guy projected for more than 30 minutes here. A guy like Jordan Poole only projected for 22 minutes. I didn't end up landing on anything in particular for this Wizards side of things, but just keep that in mind. But for the Miami Heat side of things, you got to look at a guy like Bam or Kelal Ware, just because similar types of players crush this team. These big men, the pick and roll big guys, the guys that score in the paint, rebounders can also do very well against this team. So like a Kelal Ware rebounding line at 10.5, something I'm definitely looking at. What I kind of landed on here, I think, is going to be Bam Adebayo's rebounds and assist line, which might be, kind of sounding crazy. It's at 13.5. I don't know why this one book has him at 14.5. But it's at 13.5 for pretty good value, too, like a -104, -110. And the main reason I want to look at this is because, first of all, they're away, and he plays a lot more bigger role in terms of distributing and rebounding in away games. Head-to-head, he's going over in both these games, mainly because his rebounds were crazy in both these games, 14 and 15 rebounds, and these are games they won by 20 points and 16 points, so something similar we could see today. I guess I should probably see his minutes in those games, too. 31 and 31 minutes. He projected for 35 minutes in this one. The other things I like about this line, I don't know why it keeps jumping to 14.5. It's at 13.5, as you can see. The other thing I like about this one is just the people that are playing and not playing. Andrew Wiggins not playing, Jimmy Butler's not playing. You can put Tyler Hero in there, and now you can see, okay, a little bit of better hit rate here. You can also see the fact that they are going to project it to win this game, 8.5-point spread in favor of them. So you can go to games that they're winning by, even 5+, 8+ points. He's over this now at 85% of those games. So if they're going to win this game, this is against the Wizards, a weak team, and they've already done this in one of these games, particularly the one they won by 16, played 31 minutes. He had 20 rebounds and assists. So I think with all these injuries, with Hero in the court, so he's got someone to pass to, a main guy, without Wiggins, without Jimmy Butler, so after the trade and post-trade and pre-trade, we've seen similar spots of this, and he's gone over in most of these games. So rebounds and assists for Bam Adebayo. I don't know how well I explained that one, but something I like just in terms of what I think is going to happen in this game and how Bam's going to kind of affect it. If you want to add his points, I highly, I don't want to say I don't want to go to that, but I highly recommend looking at that just because similar types of players have gone to this and gone over this. You can see Bam Adebayo himself has gone over his line in both games, 17.5 and 18.5. Now his line's at 21.5, which is why the main reason I'm kind of looking away from it. But he's got a perfect matchup to score the points. You can see similar types of players absolutely crushing this team. So if you want to go to his points, absolutely, you could do the PRA in total. I think he's going to be able to affect it on all sides of the court. And again, 8.5 spread. This should hopefully be a closer game, and Bam can get that 32 to 35 to 30, maybe 8 minutes if this is close enough. And then moving into the guy that I probably even should have started with, especially talking about this Heat team, how about the Swedish swish, Pelle Larsson over his points line, 9.5 points. He's projected for 28 minutes. I know I talked about kind of randos stepping up for this Miami Heat team. Well, he's a rookie. They've been playing him. If he's going to get 25 plus minutes in a game, he's over this in 5 of 5 games. So he's only seen 25 plus minutes in 5 games. One of these games was a 28-minute outing against the Washington Wizards. He's projected for 28 minutes in this game. He's also projected to start in this game. So Pelle Larsson looking really good here. The way he scores the ball, spot up transition, similar types of players all going over against this Wizards team. We know they're weak in pretty much every regard. Points is my favorite line, but you can honestly look at his PRA. He's probably going to, in that much time, go over most of these lines. But again, points is going to be the main thing. He's got the best hit rate. He's got a very weak matchup to score the ball, but he also has a very weak matchup to really do anything out there. So Pelle Larsson, I look at all his lines, maybe even a value play in terms of going over pretty much all of his lines, his rebounds line, his assist line, his points line, maybe look at all of them and kind of combo them up to get some plus money. But I'm going to focus on the 9.5 points here for the Swedish swish. Moving into this Celtics versus Grizzlies game, Jason Tatum is a guy that I've been looking at for a while. I really don't know if I want to get to his rebounds and assists or his points line here. And the main reason is I don't know if Jaylen Brown's going to play. So here's his rebounds and assist line and his scoring line against these like similar types of weaker defenses, above the break threes and pick and roll ball handling. I think it's a pretty good spot for him to score the ball, to be totally honest. He didn't have a great scoring game against them last time, but he shot a whole lot. He just didn't shoot very well. He shot like 22% in that matchup. I guess we can see it right here, head to head. Yeah, 21 shots, 17 points in that game, but 29% shooting and 1 of 10 from 3. So if you can knock down some threes, maybe that looks a little bit better. But yeah, 58% hit rate here. The rebounds assist line's very intriguing at 72%. But the main fact I don't really want to look at that is because Jaylen Brown game time decision with that knee injury. If he ends up sitting this game, I don't love the hit rate without Jaylen Brown in there. He is one of his main assist targets. I think it's Derek White, then Jaylen Brown. And his rebounding, for some reason, takes a hit without Jaylen Brown in there, too, because probably they're playing a Luke Cornett or guys like Tillman and these random guys that come off the bench. They're maybe a little bit bigger than Brown, a little bit better rebounders than Brown, and maybe that's why that affects it. So if Jaylen Brown doesn't play, the rebounds and assist line scares me a little bit more, but if he does go out there and play, it's looking pretty good here. Similar thing to the points line. If Jaylen Brown doesn't play, I love the points line. He's over in 6 of 7 games without Jaylen Brown in similar types of matchups. But again, if Jaylen Brown does play, you can see a 50% hit rate. So Jaylen Brown's the main thing to look at here. I think Tatum's got a good matchup for a lot of these different things. We just need to see if Jaylen Brown's on the court or not. And that goes hand in hand with a lot of these different guys, like a Derek White, a Porzingis, especially a guy like Derek White. Really good matchup for him to score the ball. Has been okay getting this line recently, 16.5 for plus money. I'm sure you can find this at 15.5. Yeah, you can find this at 15.5, a lot of different places. He's another guy I really want to look at here. The head-to-head matchup against them, only 10 points. That was a loss, like I mentioned in the injury news. But 38 minutes, he shot 3 of 9, just didn't shoot very well. And this was a game with Jaylen Brown. Without Jaylen Brown in the lineup, we're going to see probably a bigger hit rate, 71% hit rate. So maybe a Derek White, a more conservative guy to go to, just because his hit rates don't really matter too much with Jaylen Brown or without Jaylen Brown. It actually doesn't really affect it at all. So 15.5 for Derek White, kind of talking myself into that. This is a game that should be kind of playoff-like atmosphere. Memphis is obviously playing for something with the new coach and everything like that. They're going to want to get things clicking. and Boston's won 8 straight games. So Derek White may be the main guy I want to look at, but I obviously want to point out Jason Tatum. He's got a very weird situation going on. We need to know if Jaylen Brown's going to be in the lineup or not before I get there. But Derek White over 15.5 points. That's my favorite play of this one. And then for the Memphis side of things, it's going to be hard for me to get to a lot of these guys just because with the new coaching, like firing all your coaches, your head coach and 2 of your assistant coaches, and bringing in one of your assistant coaches to become the new head coach. That's a very big transition. So these guys need to understand that there's going to be a shift in how they play, whether it's offensively or defensively. So that's something we definitely have to look into. John Morant, again, did a lot more pick and roll ball handling action. We saw a lot more of a guy like Zach Edey in that game. So if he's going to get 20 whatever minutes on the court, he got 27 last time in the court. Yeah, 27 versus 17. If we're going to see 20 plus minutes, 25 plus minutes of Zach Edey, or 23 plus minutes, obviously he's going to be able to get there. This is not an amazing matchup going against Porzingis, though. So it's a difficult one to read for the Grizzlies side of things, just with the new coaching staff and things like that. So in a tough matchup here against the Celtics, that's going to be a stay away for me on the Memphis side of things until we have one more game or 2 more games under our belt here near the end of the season. Moving into the Bulls and the Thunder game here, you have to keep riding the hot streak of Josh Giddey. He's been awesome, and really since I would assume has been out of the lineup, he's been a go-to guy. And the main thing I'm going to look at here is going to be his rebounds line. I want to get to his points, even though I'm not a guy that's completely trusted his point scoring ability. He's been awesome lately. You can just see his point scoring. It's been awesome. I don't really trust his assists just because, again, we know the OKC defense, they don't allow a lot of assists to similar types of players. They don't allow a lot of assists to really anyone. Points similarly. So, these guards transition, no, they're not going to allow that to happen. Spot up, sure. If you're going to allow Josh Giddey to spot up, that's why OKC shipped him out of here. So I want to get something down on Giddey. It's a return home, return to OKC, a team that pretty much gave up on him, shipped him to the Bulls, and now with all the injuries to the guards, people are being able to see what Giddey can do, and he's actually translating those into wins. The Bulls have been good. The Thunder have been obviously really good. This could be a complete blowout. The Thunder just absolutely crushed these guys. It's probably a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander show for me, I think, because the Bulls defense is perfect for him to take advantage of. But I got to get to Giddey, and the way I'm going to do it is going to be the rebounds here at 8.5 rebounds. Go out there, play your hardest. I know you can rebound the ball. You go to games without, I would assume, in the lineup, which is the main reason he's doing so well. He's over in 63% of these games. Again, you take out a guy like Lonzo Ball out there too, he's over in 66%. So he's going over in a lot of these games. I think he's going to be playing a little bit harder, maybe chasing those rebounds as a team that pretty much gave up on him, like I've said multiple times. So Giddey over 8.5 rebounds, one of my favorite plays of the day. Yes, it's a difficult matchup, but in terms of rebounding, it's actually a pretty good matchup. So I don't trust the assists. I don't trust the scoring. He could go out there and get another triple-double. I don't care. Just go out there and maybe get the rebounds. Just 9, 10 rebounds, whatever it might be. Just get him for us. So Josh Giddey, going to be my main look here. And then on the OKC side of things, again, I keep saying Shai. Obviously, the points line at 33.5 is very high. Is this at 32.5 anywhere? No, but again, if this one does stay relatively close, which hopefully it does for the sake of our Giddey play at 8.5 boards, if it does stay relatively close, this is a perfect example or a perfect matchup for him to take advantage of and really score the ball, especially with J-Dub, being a little bit shaken up. Hasn't been playing a ton of minutes, kind of capped at 29 minutes the last 2 games. Chet Holmgren being a game-time decision. We don't know if Hartenstein's going to play. So obviously they're dealing with some injuries. I'd like to see some bench guys. I think there's some value there because, obviously the Chicago team hasn't been the best defense in the world. So a lot of guys potential to score some points here. And again, if it stays any bit close, I think Shai, 33.5 points is going to be an okay look, especially with potential for injury news. We don't know if Chet's going to play. If he sits, that's going to be more opportunity for a guy like Shai who scores more without Chet in the lineup. Hartenstein, another question mark. So a couple guys on the injury report. So we got to keep that in mind for a Shai line, obviously. But he is in a great position to score the ball. If one of these guys is ruled out, that's just going to be better potential for him to go over here. So 33.5, yes, it is super high, but he's got a weak matchup for it. So if you think it's going to be close, I think it's an okay look here. Moving into the last game that we're going to talk about here, it's going to be Austin Reeves, and I'm actually looking at the under 20.5 points. Now, a really good play here could be the 21 points on PrizePicks, just because he did land on 21 exactly the last time they played these guys, and he's been scoring extremely well. So obviously this is a scary under, but you can also see the defensive ranking for the teams he's been playing recently, all really, really high. You got 20th ranked, 26th, 25th, 20th, 24th, and then guess what? He went under against a good defense, ranked number 2 here. Now they got another good defense against this Rockets team, who are again playing for that second spot in the West, and the Lakers are also trying to win games to kind of close that gap between the two teams. So yeah, this could be like a playoff-like atmosphere. I was really looking at Luka's point potential. I was then looking at his under assist potential against this team. They have a very, very weak pick and roll ball handling defense, and they have a very strong spot up defense. So essentially what that means is they let their guys stay one-on-one. So they're going to let you go one-on-one, which turns into a lot of pick and roll ball handling and a lot of scoring that way, because they probably get lost a little bit in the switch, but they're not going to let you beat them on some spot up shooters. So driving and kicking, that's something they're really good at defending. So in a playoff-like atmosphere with LeBron James and Luka Doncic on your team, these are going to be the main ball handlers. Sure, Austin Reeves has been great. He might be in that pick-and-roll ball handling action if both these guys aren't on the floor for a little bit, and he's going to have a good opportunity to score the ball. But in the instances of Luka and LeBron driving and kicking out to an open Austin Reeves, that's not going to be as open or available to him in this matchup. So Austin Reeves in a playoff-like atmosphere, I'm going to fade him. I'll favor Luka and LeBron to be the main sources of scoring on this team. And sure, he's been killing it. But you start taking a look at these different filters. They're ranked number 2 in terms of spot up shooting. That's this rank right here, dominant player type 2. You can go to top 10 defenses in terms of that. He's now only over this in 42% of games. You add that to the defensive ranking. This is a really good defensive ranking, so they don't just stop spot up shooting, they stop a whole lot of different things. They're ranked 4th in terms of defensive ranking. If you go to bottom 15 teams or top 15 teams in defensive ranking and top 10 teams in spot up shooting, this is now only over in 38.5% of those games. Then you take into account that, yeah, Luka's here, LeBron's here, they're both in the game. Now he's only over in 1 of 4 games. So tough matchup for a guy like Austin Reeves. Could be a Luka scoring show, it could be a LeBron scoring show, it could be an Austin Reeves scoring show, but he's not going to do it in the way of Luka and LeBron, driving and kicking out to him, and I think that's going to affect him, negatively here in his scoring department. So Austin Reeves, hate to do it, going to fade him at 20.5 points, and that's not even disrespectful. 20.5 points, that's a lot of points. If he lands on 20, we're still going to win this line. So yeah, he can do his thing, just don't go over 21. I'm liking this play for the under on Austin Reeves. So that will do it for me in this one. I do have to go over the recap real quick, but if you got this far in the video, I definitely appreciate it if you like it. Subscribe if you are new, of course, and comment something down below if you do have an extra time or two. We went through a lot of the different games today, talked about a whole bunch of different plays. Again, I'm going to go through the recap right now, but if you're interested in getting access to actually all my plays, all my slips and things like that, and also a bunch of other really cool people and other people sharing their slips that are really good at this, and just a like-minded community where you can talk to other people, definitely check out my links in the description down below. It's a DubClub link. You can sign up through that and then connect your DubClub account to your Discord account. That's where you'll find our community. It's one of the cheapest out there, and there's plenty of different ways to get in for free. Sign up for PrizePicks, Underdog, Chalkboard, Sleeper, Betr, Dabble, any of those different platforms that are listed down below. Using my code, you'll get that free month. So just let me know if you do use my code. You're going to get a deposit match of some sort. You're going to get a free square of some sort. So you always get a perk of using my code and trying out one of those new platforms. But then you also get out, access to all the slips that we're sharing in the Discord community. So it's really a win-win-win situation. A lot of those platforms are really, really fun and very, very profitable if you do them the right way, which we try to do in the Discord. So yeah, definitely check out the links in the description. Just read that. There's a step-by-step process of how to get in, also a step-by-step process of how to get in for free. Make sure you do get a screenshot of my code in use so you can send it to me in the Discord, the free part of the Discord, or just even let me know in a comment down below. Say, hey, how do I do this? I used your code and I want to get in for free, and I'll let you know. So yeah, I'd appreciate all that stuff. Definitely check us out. So as for the recap, it's going to be right here, the NBA video picks, the official plays for today. Obviously talked about a whole bunch of different plays outside of this, but the official one's going to be Keontae George over 16.5 points. A lot of points lines today. The Swedish Swish over 9.5 points, just needs 10. Derek White over 15.5 points, potential for no Jaylen Brown today. Josh Giddey over 8.5 rebounds, revenge game for him. Doesn't need a score, doesn't need an assist, just go out there and play hard, grab some rebounds like you have been. And then Austin Reeves, the only under for the day, 20.5 points on that line. Obviously, you see the red, recently last 2 video picks. We were crushing it before that, so we got to give ourselves some sort of credit, but definitely a bounce back opportunity here. Liking the board, liking the slate we got going on, and a nice 4-1 day or a 5-0 day would be great, and hopefully we get that for us. So that will do it in today's video. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets today, like always, and definitely check out the links in the description down below to check out our Discord community. Also, check out Props Madness. That was a tool we're using throughout the entire video. That thing is awesome. I'm super excited to use it for WNBA. Obviously not as knowledgeable in the WNBA, but being able to see how certain types of players score, how defenses are going up against that, all those stats are going to be great for the WNBA, and being able to profit in it once again, like we did last year. So yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.